wanted to speak today is about the Rambam when he gives the order of the events, how Moshiach is going to appear and the activities Moshiach will do. The Rambam writes that Moshiach will build the Beis Hamikdosh and he will gather in the Nidchei Yisrael, the exiles of Yidden. So the Rebbe explained many times that the order in the Rambam is also a halakha. And it takes a very important this particular area, both due to the fact that it's a machloikis, the different medrashim have opposite opinions. What's going to come first? Is first going to be the building of Yerushalayim, which includes the building of the Beis Hamikdosh, or first is going to be the kibbutz galus and gathering of the exiles. So some medrashim imply that first there will be the gathering of the exiles, and then there will be the building of Yerushalayim and the Beis Hamikdosh. Other medrashim and the Zoyar implied just the opposite, that first there will be the building of the Beis Hamikdosh, and then there's going to be the gathering of the galus. The Rambam paskins clearly, according to the way we know the Rebbe says that the Seder and the Rambam, the order of the words of the Rambam are also a halacha. The Rambam writes that Moshiach, the way the Rambam writes the order of events is first that Moshiach will build the Beis Hamikdosh and then will gather in the exiles of Yidden. And the Rebbe emphasized many times that there's a cloud, there's a rule in the regarding the Rambam and those that disagree with the Rambam, that if the Rambam says a halacha and all the noisei kelim, in other words, all the commentaries don't say anything. For example, the Rambam's main the one that always argues on the Rambam is the Ravid. So if the Ravid doesn't say anything, no one says anything, is proof that the Rambam's ruling is acceptable halacha. So no one disagrees with the Rambam and writes, it's not going to be this way. The reverse is going to be the truth. First Moshiach will gather the exiles, then will build the Beis Hamikdosh. The fact that no one disagrees with the Rambam is right, that's why it's accepted. It's proof that's why it's acceptable halacha. Particularly has special significance, which is not the main purpose of this year, but the Rebbe discussed it in a few times when he spoke about this point, because one of the arguments that people wanted to say, though the establishment of the modern state of Israel, that's already the beginning of the redemption, which the Rebbe was very against. The Rebbe said it's not the beginning of redemption, it's a bigger galus, and the Rebbe said it's ma'akiv the geula. By saying that this is the beginning of the geula, it's actually holding back the geula. Very strong words. And they were basing it on the fact that the establishment, the state of Israel, different Jews coming from around the world into the state of Israel is kibbutz galus, is at least the beginning of the prophecy of kibbutz galus, of the gathering of the exiles. And therefore, this is the beginning of the Gula, but the Rebbe says that's not true, because the Rambam clearly writes that kibbutz galus will only happen after the building of the Beis Hamikdosh. I think it's important to emphasize, I don't want to get into this point, because there's a lot can't say I have, there's a lot to speak about here, and you have to draw a fine line. It's self-understood that when Moshiach will begin to appear, there will be Jews in Eretz Yisrael. The Rebbe, for example, in a letter points out that when you say that Moshiach will build the Beis Hamikdosh and then gather in the exiles of Israel, there must be some Jews in Yerushalayim if he's building the Beis Hamikdosh. So obviously there's going to be some miniature or small-scale gathering of exiles or Jews coming to Eretz Yisrael even before the main kibbutz galus, the main gathering of the exiles. But the Rebbe's main point is twofold. First of all, that the main kibbutz galus, the main gathering of the exiles, on which all the prophets prophesied will only happen when Moshiach will come, after he builds the Beis Hamikdosh. The second point that the Rebbe is the second point that Rebbe is emphasizing is that you can't say, even if to some degree you want to say there's some gathering of the exiles, but you can't say that this is part of the process of Moshiach. The fact that people come, you can have people coming from all four corners of the world, but if it's not following the order of the Rambam, then it's not part of the process of Moshiach. It's It could, whatever it is. No, the Rebbe says the process of Mashiach's coming includes the whole Jewish history. I mean, I don't want to get into the Rebbe's whole shit and Neschad the Gul. Huh? The Rebbe's, in other words, people say it's the beginning. Look, something is not. The Rebbe says many things that are promised. What's called the beginning of the Geula. Yeah. So the Rebbe says the second after the Churban Beis Hamikdosh, or second after the exile, after the Beis Hamikdosh was burnt, was already the beginning of Geula. It says Moshiach was born. But all the tzara started then. So people use the term beginning of Geula. Something happens that's connected with Moshiach. Doesn't mean that this is the beginning of the.
The Russian Jews coming.
Yeah, but that's why I don't want to get into it because it's important to draw a fine line.
He's talking about established
to draw a fine line.
After 6 day war, that the Tzor conquered Jerusalem, the old city, the Koisel and Hebron and Kevarachel.
The Rebbe didn't say that.
The Rebbe said it's that the Russian is a Maying. The Rebbe not use the term Eschata de Gul.
No, very
fine. Yeah, but you have to.
Not saying the Shura.
Fine. No, but it's important to keep. It's important to keep in mind that it's. That's why I don't want to get into discussion. There's a lot of fine lines that need to be understood, and it's it's hard to. To iron out everything, so clearly.
Especially what we know is so.
But anyway, the point that the Rebbe made like this: you have events that are connected with Mashiach. One of the slander, many negative things that are part of that are associated with Mashiach's coming. Would you say that that's the beginning of the redemption? Use the term "the beginning of redemption" is twofold. First of all, you mean it's a point that is actually part of the redemption, not something that's connected with a long process which could span thousands of years, and this is part of that process. Doesn't mean that term could also be called the beginning of the redemption. That's not what we're looking for. We're looking for the beginning of the redemption, meaning that this is it. You understand? So you can have things unfolding. The only time this is it, the Rebbe says, is when follows the order of the Rambam. The king arises, makes it and keep to the mitzvahs, and builds a Beis Hamikdosh, and he gathers in Igalis. Then it's Moshiach is here. Anything that happened before then could be. The Rebbe says even if Moshiach builds a Beis Hamikdosh, but he doesn't gather in the exiles, it doesn't mean necessarily it's Moshiach. You could call it Ischalta. That's still not Ischalta. Even then, it's not Ischalta de Gula yet. That's why it's smashing the Rebbe Sichas. In other words, it's part of the process. But in other words, what the Rebbe is trying to emphasize, use the term is Chalta de Gula. The beginning of Gula means this is it.
So we want to build a Beis Hamikdosh. The Rebbe didn't say you're not allowed to do it because Mashiach has to come.
The Rebbe did say that one. It was a few points. One point the Rebbe clearly said. The Rebbe said that the Eibishter is gonna that the building Beis Hamikdosh, huh?
That's Chilik of the Gula.
No, but the building Beis Hamikdosh has to be through Mashiach. Huh?
It's the
Rebbe passes on Mashiach before the Beis Hamikdosh. So the Rebbe says we can't build. What up? The Rebbe spoke about it. Shiva Shriftayim, the Eibush will bring this on that. The Rebbe said, Beis Hamikdosh. So in other words, there's a lot of, but I don't want to get into this right now. There's a whole separate discussion. The point that the Rebbe was making over there, the Rebbe, people say, you have kibbutz galus. First of all, the Rebbe says, there was never greater galus than now. First of all, galus doesn't mean that fact that many Jews are in Israel is not a redemption. You have many Jews in Israel spiritually, they're in a deeper slumber than
physically also.
Yeah, physically also. So in other words, it doesn't make a redemption. It's not a technical thing. You have Jews in Israel, the Gula. That's another thing which, but the Rebbe says, but the Rambam paskin that kibbutz galus happens after Binyan Beis Hamikdosh. In other words, the Torah promise, the ultimate promise of the Torah of gathering of the exiles could only be fulfilled after the building of the Beis Hamikdosh. So therefore,
right? It says Makabit Yisrael before.
I told you that there's different days.
But the Sanhedrin made that the
fine, but the Medrash is said by a Katlikanya.
Rambam.
What do you have in the Shemona Esrei? You have kibbutz galus and Tkapish Shofar. Yeah.
And then the Sanhedrin.
And then Yerushalayim.
And then the Cheskas Mashiach.
whatever. I mean, let's still talk about the Gemara. Fine.
Then the Yerushalayim, and then Moshiach Vadai, the Matzmiach Karen Yisrael.
So that's the Gemara Masechta Megillah. So I'm going to bring you Masechta Megillah. I'll look it up inside. But the Rambam clearly paskins. It's a different midrash, and the Rambam clearly paskins. You'll soon see that these. I don't want to get again the halachic discussion of it runs around other points as well, which I don't want to get into right now. Now, the main thing I wanted to discuss.
So only these two things in the Yom of Moshiach, Kibbutz Nitche Yisrael, and Binyan Beis Hamikdosh. There's other things.
So another major point that I didn't want to get into just now was whether Binyan Beis Hamikdosh could happen before Mashiach or after Mashiach. This is another point of great contention. Is that Masechta Megillah?
But for Shemesh is not a Raya Halacha. That's the point.
Es sagt, Anshe Knesset Agdelom gemacht.
But this is Raya. No, this is Raya Halacha. Really not a Raya Halacha. The Gemara says if a person is not feeling well and is lacking parnasa, they should ask for parnasa because man yoy chaye.
So in the Gemara over here, regarding the Gemara over here, the Gemara over here is more complicated in our discussions. The Gemara over here says that once the exiles get gathered, there's judgment done on the wicked. That's why you have Then you have, once there's judgment done on the wicked, the tzaddikim are uplifted. That's why you have Allah tzaddikim. Then after where's the glory of the tzaddikim uplifted, gets revealed in Yerushalayim. That's why you have Yerushalayim. Once Yerushalayim is built, David comes. What does this mean? Once Yerushalayim is built, David comes. So this is another point of contention, which is you have Gemara or Medrash or Yerushalmi, whatever it is, you seem to imply at the building of the Beis Hamikdosh before Moshiach comes. So the classic answer to that is that Rabbi Rashab said this word, Rogatchover said this word, and so on, which is maybe connected with what you were saying, B'chesres Moshiach Vadai, is that the Mashiach, that's for sure that the building of Yerushalayim will happen through Mashiach. It's just that the ultimate revelation of Moshiach, the Shleimus HaMalchus of Moshiach, will take place after Yerushalayim is built. So, according to what you'll soon see, a lot of the questions are answered. But spiritually, again, you can't paskin based on the Shemoneh Esrei. What I wanted to focus today was more on the spiritual aspect of it, not so much on the. I didn't want to get it. Again, I just discussed very briefly the Etzem thing, and the Rabbi spoke a number of times. He spoke about this. He was using this as one of the proofs that why the whole Zionist approach is not right. And obviously, they try to champion the other medrashim or whatever that seem to imply otherwise. The Rebbe says once the Rambam paskin something, this is the halacha. Now, the Rebbe spoke about this a number of times. Besides discussing that's in fact the Kippus Golis has happened from Moshiach. It's also the Rebbe spoke this a number of times in Shabbos Pashas Chai Yisod, and the reason is because in the Zohar and Shabbos Pashas Chai Yisod is where the Zohar says at first there's going to be the ingathering. First will be Binyan Beis Hamikdosh. And then there'll be the gathering of the exiles. And the Zohar quotes the pasuk, "B'nei Yerushalayim Hashem, Nitche Yisrael Yichanis." Hashem will build Yerushalayim, will gather the exiles of the Eden. So the Zohar explained that first will be B'nei Yerushalayim Hashem. First Hashem will build Yerushalayim, and then we'll gather in the exiles of the Eden. And the Rebbe's father, and as Kedaki Bakodesh, the Rebbe's father's general style of explaining things of Kabbalah, the Rebbe's father explained the Zohar according to Kabbalah, different levels, different dargas, what gathering of the exiles is, what the building of the Beis Hamikdosh is, what Chiyas HaMeisim is. So the Rebbe would always think about a word from his father's hardest on the Zohar by Farbring, and so Shabbos Parshas Chai Yisod, a number of years the Rebbe focused on this point. The Rebbe explained that in different sikhs, it's hard to put together all the explanations of different sikhs as one connected piece, because it seems that different sikhs clearly are giving different angles of understanding it and different explanations of it. But just a few points. One point that Rebbe spoke in Tav Shalom at Gimel, the Rebbe spoke about this. There's a sefer called Teferes Menachem Teferes Levi Yitzchak, which is the Rebbe's Biyurim on the Rebbe's father's Ha'aris on the Zoyar. So you look in Shabbos on Sefer Breishis and Pashas Chayisara, the last thing, Chayisara, they collected all the sikhs together. It always helps look in the actual source, because the way they write it is much more condensed. So the Rebbe spoke then, the Rebbe said, what is the idea? The Rebbe spoke on Lamed Gimel, besides the fact the Rebbe spoke a lot, like I mentioned, how this, about the Tzchat, the Gula and all that, but the Rebbe said, what is Taka the Inim? What is the concept that first will be Binyan Beis Hamikdosh, and then there's going to be the exiles and the gathering of the exiles of the Yidden. The Rebbe says a very fundamental, simple but fundamental point. The Rebbe says the Yidden are going to be gathered into Yerushalayim. First of all, I mean, maybe to rephrase the Rebbe's words, there's 2 points over here. There has to be a unifying force that's gathering all the Yidden together, and also, Pashat Mitzad Achdus Yisrael, to unify them. Kibbutz Golis is not that you have a bunch of random individuals coming together and each one is creating his own party and fighting with one another every 2 days. But it's that they're joined together, that there's a unifying force. And also, Pashat, something that's going to schlep, the waking by you, the desire to come to Eretz Yisrael. So the Rebbe brings the famous pasuk by Matan Torah that it says, the Jewish people encamped against the mountain, and the Chachamim say that they encamped like one man with one heart. And there's a famous explanation, the Rebbe spoke many times, that is neged ha'ar, which means in order there should be true achdos, it's only when it's connected with Torah. You can make many, people can come together to build whatever type of society they're building, but it should have true unity is only through Torah. So similarly, the Rebbe said other times, the Rebbe quoted the pasuk, there'll be a great shofar will sound, and those that are lost in Asher, those that are stuck in Mitzrayim will come and they'll bow down in front of the Eibishter. So the Rebbe says, what's going to awaken the Yidden when the Beis Hamikdosh is built? So the Yidden, that's going to be a unifying force. It's going to be the revelation of godliness that will be revealed in the Beis Hamikdosh. First of all, that's going to be something that will arouse the Yidden to come, and that will also unify all of them. That proper gathering of the exiles, they're all united, not just coming as scattered individuals. They're coming all the Jewish peoples are coming united once again. Is through the Beis Hamikdosh. The Rebbe spoke that I think it was after the 6th-day war. The Rebbe spoke a lot about this in the Kudah, that it's going to be what's going to arouse the Jews' desire to come to Eretz Yisrael is Nishtach V'L Hashem B'Har HaKodesh, is the holy mountain, is the Beis Hamikdash. So that is why, Pashat, in other words, that is the significance, that is the meaning of why the building of the Beis Hamikdash comes before Kibbutz Golis. That's why the Rebbe spoke. This was in Tav Shalom at Gimel Pashas Chayisar. It's a very simple point, but a very fundamental point. That the unity of the Jewish people, when Moshiach is going to, so to say, bring back the Shleimus HaTorah VaMitzvos, the Beis Hamikdash is going to be the so to say, I don't know how you say it in English, but it's going to be the light. Everyone will be attracted to it. They'll gather in all the Golis. 10 years later, in Tav Shalom Gimel, the Rebbe again spoke about the Zohar, and the Rebbe looked at it from a different angle, with a different Hirah. The Rebbe said then, what is the difference if the Beis Hamikdash is built first, if the exiles are brought first? So the Rebbe said like this, if the Beis Hamikdash is built first, and then the exiles are gathered in, so the Beis Hamikdash itself is missing some of its shleimus. Why is the Beis Hamikdash missing some of its shleimus? Because the shleimus of the Beis Hamikdash is when it's built with all the Yidden on Eretz Yisrael. Yeah, Kol Yishvei Allah. So when the Beis Hamikdash is built and not all the Yidden are there, there's missing something to say in the level of the Beis Hamikdash. If the Yidden, on the other hand, if the Beis Hamikdash is built first and then comes Kibbutz Golius happens on a higher level. Like we just spoke before, when the Beis Hamikdash is built and then all the exiles come together, Teretz Yisrael, so they're coming together, Teretz Yisrael, out of a deep connection to the Beis Hamikdosh. It's going to be happening in a much, deeper, fundamental way. So the question here is what overweighs what? The mile of the Beis Hamikdosh. The Beis Hamikdosh should be built after all the Yidden are there in Eretz Yisrael. So the level of the Beis Hamikdosh is greater, or that the Kibbutz Golius, the Beis Hamikdosh should be missing, but the Kibbutz Golius, the gathering of the exiles, should be done with Tachlis Hashleimus in the complete way. So what?
Yeah, the host of Beis Hamikdosh, and the soul Nissim Nasol Aviseinu, and you see this Nissim. Auf einem den 12 Tagen in der Woche, especially in antique Zeiten, that remember everyone will know about it. It's going to be all over the news. Huh?
They put it on WhatsApp.
Put on WhatsApp, not you, the old reporter. And all Leben kommen zu leben. Unless it's not so horror, how could I live my business in New York or whatever it is? Aber al Piteva and all Leben Taki kommen zu leben.
Yeah, in Achanam.
I don't see it.
They come zusammen.
The Rebbe sagt, to look to Echodecho, that the Rebbe should have a half by man. But the Rotz wird sicher sein zu gehen. It's going to be obstacles.
Yeah.
However, if it's verkehrt, can ich verstehen that. Kibbutz nicht Israel. Why should I go around to Israel?
So the Rebbe says, so that's why the mile of Yidden overweighs the mile of the Beis Hamikdosh. That's the Hirah. That the Beis Hamikdosh is built first, even though it loses some of its shleimus, Abi that the Kibbutz Goli should happen in the best way possible. So the Rebbe says the Hirah from that is Avos Yisrael.
So when is Kibbutz Goli is going to be?
After the Beis Hamikdosh. So like this, the Kibbutz Goli is done with the light of the Beis Hamikdosh. It's being drawn with a much greater light. So the Rebbe is... Huh?
The Rebbe speaks also about Chizki and Shachni, that he had Chizki telling me that he has less people than the Shabbat something.
Yeah.
But he says, Kesher Shayim and Kesher, don't worry, that they come over there, Chizki telling me look what I have, look what they have. Look at the gathering for Shabbat. Kesher Shayim is Kesher. That is Russian. So that you have numbers. It's not exactus. It's not
right.
It's big numbers of a lot of people.
Yeah. No, but the Rebbe spoke many times. Wants to be whenever Jewish people make an organization, we can't rotate on mitzvahs because otherwise it's not shuachtas. Then the Rebbe there were another two sichas the Rebbe spoke about. It was in Tavshim Zayin and Tavshim Ches. The Rebbe in Tavshim Zayin. He spoke like this. The Rebbe spoke Beruchnis in Yonim. The Rebbe here focused on the Hirah on a person's own avodah. And the Rebbe says, what is the difference in a person's avodah between the building of the Beis Hamikdosh and the gathering of the exiles? So the Rebbe in this particular sikha explains that the gathering of the exiles shows on the shleimus in the person's own avodah. Why? So this explains what's the deeper meaning of Kibbutz Golius is that a Yid is mekabetz to nitzaitzas. He gathers together all the sparks of his neshama. When a person does a sin, it's considered that a koyach of his nefesh got lost and someone wanted to act. What is the gathering of the exiles? Gathering all the sparks of his neshama and bringing them back together to their source. So the Kibbutz Golius, according to Chassidus, is not talking about here Kibbutz Golius on the global scale. Gathering in all the exiles of the Jews. We're talking about within a person's own avoid, and gathering the exiles means gathering together all the sparks that are shaykh to his neshama. Building of the Beis Hamikdosh reflects not so much the avoid of a Yid within himself, to gather together all the sparks, all the koichas of his neshama, but the building of the Beis Hamikdosh reflects the avoid of a Yid refining the world. Just like the Beis Hamikdosh was, he took physical things of the world and he made them for a dwelling place for Hashem. So the Rebbe says, the shaila is, which avodah comes first? The avodah of Kibbutz Golius, the avodah of doing the avodah with yourself, making sure that you're all 100% visadarf design, collecting together all your machshava, dibur, and maisa, your thought, speech, and action should be done properly, or building the Beis Hamikdosh, elevating the world, affecting people outside of you. So the Rebbe says, so you have two opinions. Yeah, you have the Bina Beis Hamikdosh comes first, Kibbutz Golius comes first. So the Rebbe says that the reason, the opinion that says that Kibbutz Golius comes first is because you're having a mother that says Kshoit Atzmach Atchila, First refine yourself and then refine the world. First, the Yidden have to be complete, and the person's own avodah, first he has to be complete, and then he can go about building the Beis Hamikdosh. Then he could go about elevating the physicality of the world which is outside of him. But what's the halacha b'poil? Halacha b'poil is that first comes the building Beis Hamikdosh and then kibbutz galus, because the Rebbe said that sometimes. The Rebbe says, particularly in our times, that the avodah of our generation is you can't wait until you're 100% perfect before you start elevating the world around you. The Rebbe says, B'chal, in general, you always had this concept that even though, in general, we said that the person's avodah comes first and then he affects others, but there was also the concept of once in a while you have to go, what the Rebbe brings the word, the Rebbe Shab Chatayfa, grab something that comes your way, even if you're not holding there. But the Rebbe says, particularly in our time, you can't. First comes the avodah of elevating the world, and then dealing with yourself. And the Rebbe has here, and it's not in the Mugad Yesicha, the Rebbe has here an interesting thing. The Rebbe has the famous Ma'aser of Dal Rebbe. I think it's very interesting. Geschmack of word. There's a famous Ma'aser when it was the war with Napoleon. So last year, Dal Rebbe's, Dal Rebbe's life in Baal Medain, Tafkufay and Gimel. So the Alter Rebbe was running away from Napoleon, and then there was a whole spiritual war between the Alter Rebbe and the Rebbe called other good Yidden, other Polish tzaddikim, who should win, if Napoleon should win, if Alexander, Russia should win. The Alter Rebbe was of the opinion that Napoleon has to lose, Alexander should win. Other people wanted to make him a Gomogi, Ganson, I don't want to get a very interesting historical piece over there. So the Milo, they decided whoever blows shofar first, he will win. So the Alter Rebbe waited until the moment it came. Whatever. Blow shofar. Right away, he didn't daven. Shachar is first thing to do. He right away blew shofar right in front of him. The other, whoever it was that was arguing with the Alter Rebbe, so the second the time came, he right away daven Shachar. He sped through Shachar's kiyus. Comes time the shofar, he says the litzvah kashrena is gechapt. The Rebbe already put me at. So in other words, that person, the Rebbe didn't wait. He skipped the whole shachris and everything. I mean, al pidin you allowed to make a little shofar before shachris. So the Rebbe said like this. The Rebbe says an interesting word. The Rebbe says davening on Rosh Hashanah is avoid with yourself. Blowing shofar is tamlichuni alecha, making the Eibusher king over the world. So usually first comes davening, and then comes blowing shofar. But by the Alter Rebbe was a situation that it wasn't the normal situation. The Alter Rebbe had to be built something, so he jumped the gun. First he dealt with the world before he dealt with himself. So the Rebbe says we have a Hirah, that's in the times of the Alter Rebbe, it wasn't the standard. But now in our day and age, this is the standard, that the Hirah is that first you have to, even if a person is not 100%, when his own avoid, he still has much to be desired, but he has to deal with the world. What time is Ma'ariv now?
9:05.
Okay, so I can finish off here, I guess. This is now Toshim Emches. Rebbe said also on this thing, but here Rebbe added a very interesting dimension. Rebbe, I don't know if Flav Dafka it's exactly the same type of connected. The previous years, the Rebbe says that in essence you could put together both opinions. Interesting. Final explanation of the Rebbe, because the Rebbe says in everything in Kedusha there's always a way to do it even greater. So in gathering of the exiles and being in Beis Hamikdosh, there's many different dargahs in it. One dargah higher than another dargah. So when there's different opinions, what comes first? So everything could be true. In other words, first you could have one level of kibbutz galus, and you have a level of being in Beis Hamikdosh, and a higher level of kibbutz galus, a higher level of being in Beis Hamikdosh. So the Rebbe said. Where is the quote over here? The Rebbe said like this. The Rebbe says that Yerushalayim, the Rebbe says, is the avodah of Yerushalayim. Kibbutz Galus is the avodah of avodas hatfilah, of refining the world. In the Sikha, Kibbutz Galus, the Rebbe learned differently, I think, in the previous Sikha. But the Rebbe says, so the avodah of the Yid, building of Yerushalayim comes from the word Yerushalayim, complete fear of Hashem, the avodah of davening. Then there's the avodah refining the sparks of the world. So the Rebbe says, what happens is, one thing, through davening, gives the koyach to refine the sparks. Through Bina Beis Hamikdosh gives the koyach to refine the sparks. Once you refine the sparks, your davening itself gets on a higher level. So there's always a continuous spirit in the avodah, the spiritual avodah of a person. There's always a continuous. One thing is always getting. In other words, it's all true. And the spiritual avodah of building the Beis Hamikdosh, just is make davening or refining it or connecting yourself with Hashem, leads to refining sparks, which is avodah of kibbutz golis. And the refining of sparks makes your avodah of building Beis Hamikdosh even higher, which now you're able to refine even the sparks even a higher level, and so forth and so forth. And the Dikkiris should have the Gula Mitzvah Hashem. Just to finish off quickly, this one word, the Rebbe said that if Zochu, the Rebbe says, could be, then everything could happen without the Seder, that Moshiach takes all the Yidden together and build the Beis Hamikdosh right away, and first tackle be the Kibbutz Goliath in that way. If it happens in the right. So I think it's a line taker from Yad Mamash.